How can Marvel do this? I'm so upset. They're teasing Jessica Jones for season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, and we haven't seen her yet. It's the only damn reason I was watching this show. What is this woke nonsense? This is a review of Champions, and I'm your host, Grandmaster. With me is a powerful panel made up of the finest champions Sakura has to offer. Let me introduce them to you. First up, we have Merv. How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm fingers crossed for Iron Fist.
Yeah, indeed. Next up, we have Taylor. How are you this fine evening?
I'm great.
That's good to hear. And last but not least, we have voice only, the grand old lady of the podcast of champions, Lokismom. How are you?
I'm feeling devilish enduring.
Well, thank God the jokes are back. Today we are going to talk about the first episode of the second season of Marvel Disney Plus show Daredevil Born Again. But before we do, I want to ask you all to help us out. Like and share this video, subscribe to our channel, and if you really want more of us, you can join our forum at sakar.freeforms.net. Just click on the link in the description and you can set up your account. Join our conversation on the board and join our conversation on the channel. It's possible. Be aware there will be spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen this week's episode yet, go check that out first and then come back to us. Episode 1. Daredevil, he's fighting hard to bring down Wilson Fisk, and he starts by doing the same to a boat. Lokismom, can I have your quick impressions of the first episode of the second season?
Well, it didn't let me down, not at all. It like the first episode of the first season of Daredevil Born Again. It just jumped right into the action. I could have been a little disorienting, but because the series really we just finished it up 6 months ago, the first season, so or maybe a little less than that. I think it was easy to pick it up. I was going to go back and look at the first season again, but then I decided not to, and I didn't really have any problems with it. The only thing I kind of missed was not seeing the Punisher in the first episode, but I'm going to assume he's at large.
Yeah, probably. Taylor, your quick impressions of the first episode?
Well, it is just the first episode, so we can't say too much, but it's off to a good start. All of the technical aspects are at the high standards that we are used to in this show.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, pleased.
Oh, okay. So that's a teaser for the rating, but we'll get to that later. Merv, your quick impressions of the first episode?
I thought the first episode I thought set the stage pretty well. Much to be expected. This isn't the first go around between Daredevil and Kingpin, so it looks promising there. I like a lot of the new additions. I have some problems with some of the style choices in cinematography, but we can get to those later.
Yeah, we will absolutely. Well, yeah, I really liked the first episode. I also thought it was a little bit more of the same, and at a certain moment, I'm not gonna say it's getting boring. Absolutely not. But yeah, I would like to see a little bit more, if you know what I mean. I know he can take names and kick ass, but you know. And I was a little bit surprised by a kiss and a relationship that was all of a sudden there. But Taylor, no doubt, has something to say about that. Can I have your deep dive, Taylor? Start with your criticisms, if you have any.
No criticisms per se. I like you, I'm looking forward to seeing Jessica Jones and other characters, but it is just the first episode. I don't expect everyone to show up. In addition to Jessica, we know we're going to see Bullseye, of course, due to that hint at the end where he kind of saved Daredevil's life. At least apparently it was him. It was his symbol on the knife that was thrown in after he shot those guys that were about to kill Daredevil. So we're assuming he's got a character arc going on that started last season. But in addition to Jessica Jones, I am assuming, I don't know if this has been actually said anywhere in public, but I'm assuming that the daughter of White Tiger that we met last season is going to become the new White Tiger at some point this season. So looking forward to that. Always good when we have a team. He's obviously going to need a team to take down Kingpin. I don't think he has any delusions that he can do it all by himself at this point. I liked some other name dropping. Of course, we had Valentina DeFontaine's name was dropped in a little phone conversation. I like the new character. I like Matthew Lillard. My favorite living director, Quentin Tarantino, thinks he's a lousy actor, but I kind of like the way the guy performs, and I like him in this role so far. So I have no complaints there. As far as the story goes, it's like you said, it's pretty much just kind of picked up where it left off last season. I am very grateful, though, that unlike most streaming shows these days, we didn't have to wait 2 years for the next season to start. So I am actually very glad about that, and it did pick up, right where the last season left off. We now know why Fisk wanted that dock, or that dock, I guess it is, so we can bring illegal weapons into the country for Valentina, apparently. But I'm sure the details of the huge plot will be unfold throughout the season. But yeah, overall, those are my kind of my high points of this very first episode.
Yeah, and it was like I said, it was a little bit repetitive. So there's not much you can say like, "Oh, this was new and this excited me." It's what we have become used to when it comes to Daredevil, right? Taylor?
Yeah. I mean, it was all there. The good acting was there. The action scenes were there. The fight choreography was very good. The relationship between Daredevil and why am I forgetting her name?
Karen Page.
Karen Page. Yes, I was thinking of the actress's name and forgot the character's name. Karen Page. They have obviously. I can't remember exactly how hot and heavy they were last season, but I think they have gone up a notch as far as their romance, as far as this episode goes.
Yeah, I think last season he was involved with the psychiatrist, and then they broke up, and I guess he moved on to Karen.
I'm mentioning the psychiatrist, which reminds me of Swordsman. I hope we get to see more of Swordsman. I hope he's not in jail the whole season. I'd like to see him get out and join the team at some point.
Yeah, that would be nice if he gets something to do instead of sitting in the table saying no. But Merv, you had some criticisms of the first episode of this season, so let's have it.
Yeah, a couple. Just some of the. I enjoyed the action. I do think it's still not quite as good as the original Netflix series, but I do still think there's some like editing tricks that they did that kind of made a little bit messy through line for some of the action sequences, particularly the opening on the boat, which I enjoyed most of it, but particularly the spot where the ship all of a sudden is just vertical and Daredevil is hanging towards water that's rushing up at him. There was no like transitional scene for that, or if there was, it wasn't on my Netflix or Disney. So it was just all of a sudden he was hanging vertical for me. And there was just like, show one scene of the ship. I get it. The idea of what's happening is being shown to me, but it could be a little bit smoother especially in that scene, but also some of the other fight sequences were a little like choppy, very fast editing. And I was just like, I don't even know what's happening other than people getting smacked in the face, which again, it's being portrayed, but it could be better. And then the one that really bugged me is it's a total stylistic choice that somebody made, and I get it, and some people may really like it, but the lighting shining directly at the camera during so many scenes, like through windows, through certain things, a couple of shots, or to display like past conversations or highlighting something like that. I get it. It looks fine sometimes, but I think there's way too much of it in just one episode, and I'm really worried that it's going to be distracting me through this entire season. Because when I'm watching the camera and it pans and there's a solar flare in my face, I found it really annoying through several scenes in this episode.
Yeah, but Daredevil is the light in the dark.
I guess, then I guess I'm the gloom and the shadows or something. I don't know. I find myself going like this, and I already had eye troubles today already. So yeah, I'm sure it's a stylistic choice, particularly because Daredevil's blind. Maybe somebody thought this is a good idea, and everybody else may love it because it is very much like a style thing. I particularly hate it. Like I just every time it annoyed me more and more to the point where the episode was over, and that was my first criticism was I hate this sunshine in this, and then, I'm not saying I want it to be movie. I just can't see because of the glare.
Yeah, but fair. You're here to express your opinion, and if this annoys you, you need to say it. So,
yeah.
But
so
you
I
also
hope they tone it down. I'm sorry.
You also had some highlights, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. Again, the action was really fun. It sets the stage. It's more of the same, like you said, between Daredevil and Kingpin. But it's always fun to see it play out because one, the acting's so good, their relationship has such a history at this point that it's one of those relationships here at a villain that's always going to be fun to watch. Some particular character highlights. I love Matthew Lillard as Mr. Charles already. I love that he kind of immediately annoys Kingpin, and he walks around with a bit of a swagger that is justified because he walks into a room and he's clearly the most powerful person in that room, which really annoys Kingpin. So I'm curious to see how that goes over the course of this episode and how much or what, if any, like relevant information there's going to be from Allegra DeFontaine. Like what is this involvement? Where does this does this tie into the Avengers somehow at this point? Things like that. But Matthew Lillard playing that character really great. I really there's a small scene, or I guess a couple of scenes with Buck, who's the main henchman for Kingpin, and I'm just reminded how good he was in the first season, and how it could be very easy to just be boring and like fall into the background in this role, and they're pushing him forward. So he's like he draws my attention every time, and anytime they give him lines, I really enjoy that. So his like interrogation and execution of the ship captain, I thought was a great scene for that character especially. He's a bad guy, but he comes across as very charismatic. And Heather Glenn, who's Daredevil's old flame, who got kidnapped by the serial killer in the first season and is basically working for Kingpin as a torture psychiatrist or whatever. She's doing very villainous things, but I really like the post-traumatic stress that she's going through and the trauma that she had throughout all that stuff. That storyline really intrigues me. I'm curious to see where it goes with that character. Like, I don't think I cared about that character as much as I do in this episode, like in all of season one. So I'm really curious to see what they have up their sleeve for Heather Glenn. Yeah, it's pretty solid episode overall.
Yeah, I hope she gets some help. Maybe she needs to talk to somebody who can help her with her trauma. But anyway, Lokismom, there's one relationship I don't really like in this show, and I know why it's there, but it just creeps me out. It's the guy, the deputy mayor, is it, and the niece of Ben Urich, Bibi, and I really don't like that relationship somehow.
Well, I kind of liked it because at least when it started forming in the first season, I think he has I can't think the character's name, but it's Michael Gandolfini who plays the
Hmm.
part. I think he's potentially. I mean, right now he's still in bed with Kingpin, doing his bidding. Approving everybody, mostly what he does. I think he is repulsed by the violence, but he likes the lifestyle. He's got that nice apartment, and but I think he's like going to be the weak link as far as getting back at Kingpin at this point. That's where I'm predicting it. So I think he may be a redeemed character by the end of this. Yeah, I don't really. It doesn't really bother me. I think there really isn't a lot of romance in this. I mean, other than um, what Daredevil does. Well, I shouldn't say there isn't romance because there's Daredevil and then there's Kingpin and his wife's really
Mm.
screwed up.
Yeah,
Just
and I don't
straight up.
think Matt Murdock is the romantic type. He is
No,
more
he's
the
a lady killer. So
yeah. He's a bit of a casual lover, I think.
But I did like how he has just his whatever his moral moral trepidatude or whatever it is from last season is not here this season. Doesn't, at least according to that first episode, because he like goes into battle with gusto. Which that's always great. That's the main reason we watch him. I didn't really have a lot of issues with this particular episode. I think because it is the first episode, we got to kind of let him reestablish the narrative and get him. Hopefully, by the second episode, we'll get into a little bit more creative. See which way this is going. Like I say, right now, just like it's Daredevil against Kingpin. Just regular stuff. But I'm willing to give it a little bit of time, see how it develops. It was a really great cliffhanger at the very end. Where that was. I'm hoping Cherry survived his heart attack and everything, but we'll see next week. But it did have. I love what's his name, Bullseye, Poindexter's just all those knives coming in. I
Mhm.
just really love that. I don't have a lot of criticism against this. The high points, I guess, was the action. I liked all the characters are there. Terrific acting as always. I can never get enough of Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin and Matt Murdock, or golly, what's the actor's name who plays Matt Murdock? His name just slipped my mind.
Charlie
Charlie
Cox.
Cox. Charlie
Yeah.
Cox. And I really enjoy watching him. And um, so far, I'm just going to let it ride and see what happens by the next episode. And but so far I'm enjoying it. So, but it's just
Hmm.
one episode under the belt, so I'm not going to be too critical on it this time.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, I would like. By the way, the character's name of Michael Gandolfini is Daniel Blake.
Right? Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with all of you. There. To me, the show is more than okay. Like I said, it's like we come to expect from Daredevil and Kingpin and that relationship and the action, and it all looks great. And but yeah, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm a bit spoiled or whatever. But I would like to see a little bit more. I like to see a little bit different as well happening, instead of fighting in the dark. And yeah, I've seen this before, if you know what I mean. And still great, but yeah, that's basically my major criticism of this first episode. I really enjoyed it, but yeah, I want something else as well. So, well, let's just move on to rating the first episode of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. And I'm going to start with you, Loki's mom. Can you give me your number for this week's episode?
Yes, I'm going to give this week's episode a 7.
7. Um, Merv?
Yeah, just real quick, touching on what you said. I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair. I think I'm feeling a little bit of the same, just because this is essentially season 5 of Daredevil vs. Kingpin, and you want a couple of curveballs thrown your way. Good curveballs, not just subversion for the sake of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. I think I give this episode a 7 too. I think it could teeter either way, but I'm curious enough to see where things go. I think they've laid a lot of groundwork that is promising. Hopefully,
Yeah, thank you for your endorsement. Taylor.
Well, I think one new thing is Daredevil's kryptonite is when he hears someone having a heart attack, he freezes and goes into a flashback about Foggy dying, and then he gets his ass kicked. So if we can just simulate heart attacks, we'd have them at our mercy, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
And another thing, I think there might be some color later on in this season when Karen finds out about that fling with She-Hulk that he had.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, maybe
We
she
forgot
becomes
about
green
that.
with jealousy, huh?
Exactly, she might. She might.
So,
But I will give this episode an 8 out of 10.
an 8 out of 10. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, let's relate to the young kids. Shall I give it a 6 or 7? 6, 7, 6, 7. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. A 7 out of 10, just because it didn't really surprise me enough to go higher. Uh, and I think that's fair.
I think the most intriguing, if to tag on to the very end of it, the most intriguing character I think is the Mr. Charles,
Yeah.
because he's different, and also it's just a little bit of snippet of LaFontaine. What is she up to? So I think she ties back into the greater MCU. So I think that's going to be interesting to see how they link it up, if they do, which I think they will.
She's buying all those weapons for the Yelena Belova Avenger team, I
Yeah,
guess.
Maybe
new,
it's
new
for
Avengers.
the new Avengers, could be. But of course, we're pretty lucky because as soon as this series ends, we get the Punisher special, and
Mm-hmm.
then not long after that, we have Spider-Man: Brand New Day with
Yeah,
Punisher.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Marvel fans are going to eat good, I hope,
Mhm.
in the
Oh
next
yeah.
few weeks, months.
So we can maybe expect this season to sort of point towards what's going to be happening in Spider-Man. That's my hope.
I hope so too. With that hope, we will conclude our review for Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Episode 1. We hope you have enjoyed our discussion today. If you did, you can help us out. Like and share this review and subscribe to our channel. And if you really want more of us, join our forum at sakard.freeforms.net. Link in the description. I cannot mention it enough. We would love it if you do that. Next week, we will be back, of course, to discuss episodes 2 and 3 because they're both out. And you can always check out our Legacy series for the Infinity Saga and for Star Trek if you are bored. And soon we will start reviewing Maul Shadow Lord on a weekly basis as well. So lots to look forward to. For now, I thank you all, also on behalf of my fellow champions, and wish you to be safe and be well. Bye.